Alright folks, let's dive into some weird stuff about Sanji. You may have noticed something odd about him, am I right? Now, what in the world has happened to Sanji? Let's get straight into it. The battle between Kaido and Luffy has come to a head, and it has wrapped up Wano Country. Our Straw Hat Pirates, along with Law, Kid, the Minx, and the Wano Samurai, they all gave their best shot. But today we're going to focus on something strange about Sanji, and it's not about his fighting scenes. We'll start from his actions and words before the fight. This mystery revolves around Sanji knowing too much about Wano. Sounds strange, doesn't it? Let's rewind a bit and revisit Sanji's interactions in Wano Country. First up, the anomaly begins in Punk Hazard. Punk Hazard, as you may recall, was the battleground for the two former Navy admirals, Akainu and Aokiji, in their struggle for the top spot. Also, it's where scientist Caesar Clown conducted inhumane experiments on kidnapped children. Our Straw Hat Pirates landed there and encountered Keneman and Momonosuke, two characters who played major roles in later arcs. Keneman made a memorable first appearance in a disassembled state, head, torso, and lower body all scattered. This was the result of Trafalgar Law's ability, breaking him apart. It was quite the twist of fate that our Straw Hat crew met each separate part of him. Sanji, Frankie, Nami, and Chopper encountered Keneman, but all they found initially was his disembodied head. Now, I want you guys to remember this. Sanji said something to Keneman's head that sticks out. He said, "You got no chance of escaping on your own with just your head, right?" Wano's samurai. Later, Sanji also recognized Keneman's hairstyle as the Chanmage, specific to Wano Country. So, Sanji let slip a few lines that suggest he knew about Wano Country, a place he'd never been to before. With that in mind, let's move on to another scene. The second scene takes place after they enter Wano Country. While in the Flower capital where the Iron Parade is taking place, Sanji, despite being in Wano for the first time, reacts as if he's familiar with the term Iron Parade. He's like, "So the rumored Iron Parade passes through here." It seems like he knows what an Iron is and understands the nature of the Iron Parade. But wait, there's more to Sanji's knowledge about Wano. The third scene is after the raid on Onigashima in the Wano Country arc. A voice can be heard from beyond the door, saying, "Isn't it good?" And hey. This is known as obimawashi, a phrase often heard in historical play. Generally, it is associated with villains. And Sanji, who hears this voice, reacts as if he already knew that this was sexual harassment in the samurai country. Headed towards this, a trap is set by the enemy, and many samurai are caught, including Sanji, of course. From this, you can understand that Sanji is well-versed in matters related to Wano Country. So why is Sanji so knowledgeable about Wano Country? Probably because Sanji had studied about Wano Country in his childhood. Given that Sanji read many books, it is possible to think that he studied Wano Country by reading books about it himself. However, it also seems reasonable to assume that Judge, his father, had intentionally educated him. Then, it is curious why out of many countries, he studied specifically about Wano Country. If Judge indeed provided the education, we can consider that the Germa 66 led by Judge wanted to conquer Wano Country. It would be natural for the highly militarized Germa 66 to desire more power. Moreover, as Judge himself is a quite competent scientist, it is understandable to think that he wanted to utilize the highly skilled craftsmen of Wano Country. Indeed, while Orochi was the shogun in Wano Country, many people had high technical skills to produce weapons for trade. Furthermore, sea stone, which is quite important and prized in One Piece. This is born in Wano Country, and craftsmen who can process it into small pieces are only found in Wano Country. You can see how important Wano Country is. There is another reason we can consider as to why Judge taught Sanji about Wano Country. This is the theory that Judge has a past connection with someone in Wano Country. When it comes to someone in Wano Country who knows Judge, it would be Queen, the Plague. Queen and Judge were once part of the same science team. This team is known as MADS, which is said to have included Vegapunk and Caesar Clown. In fact, Queen made a hostile remark towards Judge when fighting against Sanji. From this, it wouldn't be strange to think that Judge is also hostile towards Queen. However, this theory feels somewhat forced. The second reason why Sanji knows so much about Wano Country could be that he was taught by Zeph during his time at Barity. When Sanji and Zeph first met, it was said that Zeph's cook pirates had just returned from the Grand Line. So there is a possibility that they had been in Wano Country at some point. And 2 years ago, on the day Luffy and Sanji met, Barity was attacked by the Krieg pirates. At that time, Zeph decreed that he was a fallen warrior from the Grand Line. Since fallen warrior is a term used in Japan during the Sengoku period, wouldn't it be possible to consider it as a term used in Wano Country in the world of One Piece? Of course, this alone does not definitively prove that Zeph taught Sanji about Wano Country, so let's just consider it a possibility. What do you all think? Please revisit Sanji's words and actions related to Wano Country and think about it. Also, this is not the only discrepancy about Sanji and Wano Country. Many of you may have noticed this. Many of you may have noticed something peculiar about Sanji's body. Sanji himself mentioned to Zoro that something feels odd about his body. In chapter 1023, Sanji told Zoro that his body had started to feel strange since he wore the raid suit for the second time. Zoro nonchalantly brushed it off with a comment about his eyebrows. In fact, the dialogue had been revised in the single-volume release, indicating that it was actually the third time, not the second. In chapter 1028, Sanji became the prey of Queen's technique, Breakioto Gyros. According to Queen, the technique, which constricts its victim like a snake, can break bones, crush internal organs, and apply pressure strong enough to incapacitate any master of armament hockey. After being hit with this supposedly deadly technique, Sanji stood up, all his bones broken, and managed to reset them himself. This was so shocking that even Chopper cried out in surprise. Furthermore, even when Queen tried to cut him down with a sword, it was the sword that ended up breaking instead. This strange development also puzzled Sanji. He fears he might have awoken the same power as his siblings, saying, "It can't be. I don't want to become a monster like them," referring to his brothers while being seemingly scared about the changes in his body. Some readers also felt a certain uneasiness, calling it a bit scary, worried about whether he would lose himself. Sanji asked for time to think and dashed off to the next scene. In chapter 1031, Sanji was found in a brothel. In front of Sanji was a scared, wounded geisha girl. Kicking a woman in any situation is against Sanji's chivalry. This started with Zeph, Sanji's great benefactor, who taught him, a man should never kick a woman. That's been the rule since the dinosaur age. So did Sanji really kick this woman? In his heart, Sanji questions whether it's better for him to serve Luffy's purpose of becoming the pirate king as a man who can't do anything when the enemy is a woman or a cold and emotionless warrior of science. Of course, there is no answer, but Sanji made a decision and broke the raid suit. His act of rejecting becoming like the German is undeniably cool, but one thing that bothers us is that the direction of Sanji's eyebrow has changed. There's no way this is a mistake, so there must be some intent behind it from Oda-sensei. You all prefer Sanji, who is irresistibly weak when it comes to women, right? Even though Sanji broke the raid suit, his body seems to have already changed. It appears he can now control his power, which has increased his exoskeleton manifestation, abnormal healing ability, strength, and even movement speed. As mentioned earlier, Sanji's eyebrow was drawn in the opposite direction, but it only happened during this battle and went back to normal afterwards. Why did he express his eyebrows in the opposite direction only during the battle? It may symbolize the changes in Sanji after defeating Queen, whose name carries the meaning of a queen. This might suggest that Sanji, who follows the code of chivalry, never kick a woman even if she kills you, has managed to attack a woman, which should be against his principle. In any case, it was good that Sanji chose not to wear the raid suit and broke it in front of Queen. It's just like him. Surely Luffy would have chosen Sanji, who is weak when it comes to women. When Judge said to Luffy that Sanji is an emotional fool who puts his life in danger for the weak, in that scene, Luffy wondered why Judge suddenly started mentioning all of Sanji's good points. Sanji himself believes that his body underwent changes and awakened due to wearing the raid suit. However, his body must have been tougher than an average human being even before. When Nami's spirit entered Sanji's body on Punk Hazard, she said, "How tough is this body?" This incident has led to speculations that it might have been a foreshadowing of Sanji's exoskeleton manifestation. The truth is unknown, but this is quite plausible. In Wano Country, Sanji's discomfort was expressed quite a lot. Where did Sanji learn about Wano Country? Does he know about other countries as well? What was the abnormality that happened during the battle? Why did he return to normal after the battle? Will it be revealed in the final chapter? This channel posts summaries, explanations, and ranking videos related to One Piece. If you like One Piece, we would be happy if you could support us by subscribing to our channel and commenting. Thank you for watching till the end. See you in the next video.